I slept with my boss and suggested opening our marriage. Now I'm losing my mind after my husband found someone better. I'm a 34-year-old physician, and I've been married to my husband Garrett, 36M, for 9 years. He's a flight engineer, works 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, maintaining aircraft systems for a major airline. We met in college when I was pre-med and he was in aerospace engineering. For the past 8 months, I've been having an affair with Roland, my department chief. It started innocently enough, late nights reviewing cases, grabbing dinner after particularly rough shifts. Roland is brilliant, commands respect, runs our department with surgical precision. Everything felt electric between us. Meanwhile, Garrett would come home from his rotations talking about hydraulic systems and engine specs. Don't get me wrong, he makes good money, $290,000 to my $250,000, but I found myself craving intellectual stimulation he couldn't provide. When Roland and I finally crossed that line, it felt inevitable. Last week, I suggested to Garrett that we open our marriage. I pitched it casually over dinner, expecting resistance. I had my arguments ready. We're modern people, monogamy is outdated, we could have rules and boundaries. I was prepared for tears, for begging, for anger. Instead, he set down his fork, looked at me for a long moment, and said, "Okay. If that's what you want." I pushed, asking if he was sure, if he understood what this meant. He just nodded and said, "I understand perfectly. When do we start?" That was 5 days ago. He hasn't brought it up since. He's been normal. Making his coffee, going to the gym, heading to work for his next rotation. He even kissed me goodbye this morning like nothing changed. I should feel victorious. I got exactly what I wanted, permission to continue with Roland without the guilt. But something about his easy acceptance bothers me. No man who loves his wife agrees to this without a fight, right? Am I overthinking this? Update 1. 2 weeks since my original post. You all said I was playing with fire. I dismissed most of you as bitter or jealous. I need to update because things are different. Garrett came back from his rotation 3 days ago. He's changed. Not dramatically, but noticeably. He's been hitting the gym harder. I can see new definition in his shoulders and arms. He bought new clothes without asking my opinion. Designer jeans, fitted shirts that show off his improving physique. He's always been handsome in a rugged way, but now he's turning heads. Yesterday, I came home from a 16-hour shift to find him cooking dinner, not unusual, but he was video chatting with someone while he cooked. A woman. I heard her laughing at something he said. When he saw me, he didn't end the call or act guilty. Just waved and kept talking for another 10 minutes while I stood there holding my hospital bag. When he hung up, I asked who that was. "Friend from the gym," he said. "We're grabbing drinks tomorrow." I felt my stomach drop. A date? Isn't that what open marriages are for? His tone wasn't cruel, just matter of fact. I wanted to say something, but what could I say? This is literally what I asked for. Roland texted me that night asking if I could slip away from home. I told him I was tired. First time I've ever said no to him. Garrett went out the next night. Came home at 2 a.m. Didn't try to hide it, didn't offer explanations. Just took a shower and went to bed. I laid next to him wondering what happened, who she was, what they did. He slept peacefully while I stared at the ceiling. This morning, he was up early making breakfast. Humming. Garrett never hums. When I came into the kitchen, he smiled at me, really smiled, like he hasn't in months. Morning. Made extra if you want some. I don't understand what's happening. Update 2. 6 weeks. 6 effing weeks since I opened our marriage, and I'm watching my husband become someone I don't recognize. No, that's not right. He's becoming the man I fell in love with, except better. He's lost 15 pounds of fat and gained visible muscle. His aviation company promoted him to lead flight engineer after he implemented some new diagnostic system he developed. He's studying for additional certifications that would let him work on military contracts. The man I thought peaked at talking about airplane engines is suddenly being headhunted by aerospace companies. But that's not the worst part. He's dating. Actually dating. Not just hookups, though from what I've gathered, there have been those too. He's been seeing 3 different women regularly. One's a pilot, another's a yoga instructor, and the third works in tech. He doesn't rub it in my face, but he doesn't hide it either. Their names pop up on his phone. He takes calls in front of me. He goes out 3 or 4 nights a week when he's off rotation. Meanwhile, Roland is pulling back. His wife got suspicious and threatened to go to the hospital board. He can't risk his position, So we've been cooling things off. The man I threw away my marriage for is now sending me professional-only emails and avoiding me in the break room. Last night was the breaking point. Garrett was getting ready to go out, black button down, cologne I don't recognize, looking devastating. I snapped. "Where are you going?" I demanded. "Out," he said, checking his watch. "With who?" He turned to me, and there was something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Not anger, not hurt, just indifference. "Does it matter? This is what you wanted, Monica. I'm just playing by your rules." "I think we should close the marriage," I blurted out. He actually laughed. Not mean, just genuinely amused. "No." "What do you mean, no?" "I'm telling you I want to work on us." "And I'm telling you no. You open this door. You don't get to close it just because you don't like what walked through." He left. Came back at 4 a.m. with a hickey on his neck he didn't bother to hide. I called in sick to work today. First time in 3 years. I'm sitting in our house, the house I just learned is actually his, inherited from his father and held in a trust, wondering how I got here. The comments on my last update were brutal. "You all saw this coming. I'm starting to think I've made a terrible mistake." Update 3. 3 months. The longest 3 months of my life. I need to tell you about Sienna. She's 29, a criminal defense attorney, and she's everything I pretended I wasn't threatened by. We met her at the hospital fundraiser last week. My husband brought her as his +1 to my work event. She's not just beautiful, she's magnetic. Sharp wit, quick laugh, the kind of confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are. She had the chief of surgery eating out of her hand, discussing some high-profile case she just won. She speaks 3 languages. She owns a motorcycle. She made everyone around her feel like they were the most interesting person in the room. Including my husband. I watched them together all night. The way she touched his arm when she laughed. The way he looked at her, Christ, he used to look at me like that. They moved together like they'd been doing it for years, not weeks. When the band played, they danced, and I had to watch my colleagues watch them with envy. "Your husband's girlfriend is stunning," one of the nurses said to me. Not knowing about our arrangement. The humiliation was suffocating. But the worst part came later. Roland approached me during the silent auction, first time we'd spoken in weeks. "So that's the husband," he said, watching Garrett and Sienna bid on a vacation package together. I expected someone more subdued. That's when it hit me. Roland had pictured Garrett as some boring, blue-collar nobody. The kind of man a woman like me would naturally stray from. But watching Garrett command attention, seeing him in his element, Roland realized something I was too stupid to see. I didn't upgrade. I downgraded. Roland's wife showed up an hour later. She made a point of introducing herself to me, all smiles and veiled threats. The entire hospital knows now. Not officially, but in whispers and looks. My reputation is quietly imploding. Garrett and Sienna left early. He didn't even look for me to say goodbye. When he came home the next morning, I was waiting in the kitchen. "How long have you been seeing her?" I asked. 6 weeks, he said, making coffee like we were discussing the weather. "Are you in love with her?" He paused, considered the question. I could be. She's remarkable. I started crying. Actually crying. What about me? What about us? He sat down across from me, and for the first time in months, I saw a flicker of the man who loved me. "Monica, you ended us the moment you asked to open our marriage. You didn't want to fix what was broken between us, you wanted permission to F your boss. I gave it to you. I made a mistake." "No. You made a choice. A calculated, deliberate choice. You thought I'd be too pathetic to do anything but wait for you. You were wrong." He was right. Every word. I'd played chess thinking he didn't even know the rules, only to discover he'd been thinking 10 moves ahead. Update 4. 4 months since I destroyed my life. I need to tell you what happened at the 4th of July party. My sister hosts every year. Family tradition. I almost didn't go, but staying home felt like admitting defeat. Garrett said he'd be there, with Sienna. They arrived looking like a effing magazine spread. Her in a sundress, him in shorts and a linen shirt, both glowing with that new relationship energy. My mother, hugged Sienna like a long-lost daughter. My father, who barely tolerates anyone, was deep in conversation with her about some legal precedent within an hour. My teenage nieces followed her around like puppies. My brother-in-law, who never shuts up, actually listened when she talked. Even my grandmother, who's been Team Monica since birth, was charmed. I watched my family fall in love with my replacement. The breaking point came when my sister pulled me aside. "I have to ask," she said carefully. "What happened with you and Garrett?" "Because Sienna. She's incredible." "We're in an open marriage," I said defensively. Her face changed. "You're what? Whose idea was that?" When I didn't answer, she figured it out. "Oh, Monica. What did you do?" "My own sister." Looking at me like I was the stupidest person alive. Later, I overheard Garrett talking to my brother about the vintage plane he's restoring with some of his aviation buddies. His eyes lit up as he explained the mechanics, the history, the challenge of it. When did he start restoring planes? When did he develop this whole life I knew nothing about? Sienna was beside him, genuinely interested, asking questions. She looked at him like he hung the moon. He looked at her the same way. I got drunk. Sloppy drunk. Said things I shouldn't have. Garrett drove me home, alone, and helped me into bed. Even took off my shoes. Before he left, I grabbed his hand. "Do you hate me?" I asked. "No," he said quietly. "I nothing you, Monica. And that's so much worse." Update 5. 5 months. The shoes have all dropped. Roland's wife reported us to the hospital board. Nothing official enough to end my career, but enough to matter. I've been transferred to night shifts at our satellite clinic. Less prestigious, less pay, less everything. Roland kept his position, of course. Threw me under the bus completely. Said I pursued him, that he tried to maintain boundaries. The other doctors look at me differently now. The whispers follow me down hallways. But that's not why I'm writing. Garrett served me with divorce papers yesterday. I knew it was coming, but seeing it in black and white still knocked the wind out of me. He was generous, more than he needed to be. He's not asking for alimony despite our income difference. He's keeping the house, his inheritance. I never had a claim, but he's giving me 6 months to find a place. He's keeping his retirement accounts, I keep mine. Clean split. My lawyer reviewed everything and laughed. Actually laughed. "You opened the marriage? You had an affair first? You make nearly the same income? Take the deal. You have no leverage here." The documents included a timeline. Photos. Screenshots. He'd been preparing for months. Every text where I admitted to the affair with Roland. Every email where I discussed opening the marriage. Every receipt from hotels I thought I'd hidden. Even security footage from the hospital parking garage. He wasn't just thinking 10 moves ahead. He'd already won the game before I knew we were playing. We met at a coffee shop to discuss the details. He looked good. Healthy. Happy. He told me he and Sienna are moving in together after the divorce is final. She's selling her condo, they're buying a place together near the airport. Makes sense for his work, he said. Like I was a colleague being informed of a schedule change. "I'm sorry," I said. First time I'd said it out loud. "I'm so effing sorry, Garrett." "I know," he said simply. "But it doesn't change anything. I threw away 9 years. "No," he corrected. "You threw away what could have been the next 40. Final update. 8 months since I opened my marriage and destroyed my life. The divorce was finalized last month. I'm writing this from my 1-bedroom apartment. It's nice enough, but it's not home. Home is where Garrett and Sienna live now. They got engaged last week. My sister told me. She was at the party. So was my entire family. Roland's wife divorced him too. He reached out last week, suggested we could finally be together properly. I laughed until I cried. The man I destroyed my marriage for thought I'd been waiting for him. I told him to F off. He seemed genuinely shocked. I've been in therapy. Processing everything. The therapist asked me when I stopped seeing Garrett as a person and started seeing him as an accessory. The question haunted me for weeks. The answer? Probably around year 5, when I got my attending position. When I started thinking his job was beneath me. When I stopped asking about his day. When I assumed a man who could rebuild a jet engine couldn't possibly understand the complexities of my world. I was wrong about everything. Garrett wasn't simple, he was straightforward. He wasn't boring, he was stable. He wasn't beneath me, I just stopped looking up. He didn't lack ambition, his ambitions just didn't revolve around impressing me anymore. The truth is, I asked for an open marriage because I thought I was too good for him. I thought I was trading up with Roland, a chief of medicine instead of a flight engineer. I thought Garrett would wait patiently while I had my fun, grateful I came home to him at all. Instead, he became the man I always claimed I wanted him to be. And then he gave that man to someone else. I saw them last week at the grocery store. They didn't see me. They were laughing about something, his arm around her waist, her head against his shoulder. They looked like everything we used to be. Everything we could have been if I hadn't been so arrogant. People ask me if I regret opening the marriage. The answer is yes. But not for the reasons they think. I regret it because it showed me who I really am. Someone who had a good man, a great man, and threw him away because I thought I deserved better. Someone who confused stability with stagnation, quiet strength with weakness, contentment with complacency. Garrett once told me that in aviation, the most dangerous phase of flight isn't takeoff or landing, it's cruise. That's when pilots get comfortable, stop paying attention, miss the warning signs. That's when most errors happen. He was trying to tell me something. I just wasn't listening. I'm not asking for sympathy. I don't deserve it. I'm the architect of my own destruction. I'm the one who opened the door. I just never imagined he'd walk through it and never look back. But that's what happens when you mistake a quiet man for a weak one. When you assume someone's love for you is desperation rather than choice. When you gamble with someone who's already calculated the odds. I played myself. Garrett just made sure I had the cards to do it. Edit, since some of you asked, yes, I'm still practicing medicine. Night shifts at the satellite clinic. Yes, I make less money now. No, I'm not dating. I don't trust my judgment anymore. And before anyone asks, yes, Garrett upgraded. In every possible way. I'm the cautionary tale now. The woman who had everything and threw it away for an affair with a married man who wouldn't even claim me when it counted. The woman who opened her marriage and lost everything while her husband gained the world. Learn from my mistakes. When you have someone who loves you, who's building a life with you, who's steady and strong and real, hold on to them. Don't go looking for thunderstorms when you have sunshine. Don't mistake quiet waters for shallow ones. And never, ever underestimate a patient man who's reached his limit. He told me once that the most important part of his job isn't fixing what's broken, it's recognizing what's beyond repair and knowing when to stop trying. I should have paid attention to that too. Final edit, I'm done updating. This is where the story ends. Not with redemption or reconciliation, but with acceptance. I'm the villain in my own story. Garrett's the hero in his. And Sienna? She's the one who got the happy ending I threw away. Don't be me. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.